right, now we're on to our NFL section, and boy, the NFL season is back. We were just saying off air, like how quick it's come. Like the Super Bowl was time ago. I've watched the whole quarterback documentary. I've watched everything. I've been watching Broncos preseason, and now we are here. And Sam, I'm going to ask you the first question. I was like, what are you most excited for in this new NFL season? I've got what I'm excited for, but we'll let you go first. What are you excited for, bro?
Do you know what it is? I would probably say I'm excited to see this NFC. Sorry, yeah, the AFC battle, because the AFC is stacked with so many quarterbacks. I could probably start naming them. I'm going to miss a few. Mahomes, Burrows, Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers, Josh Herbert, Lamar Jackson, Russell Wilson. That's just 7. I'm just naming.
Trevor Lawrence as well.
There you go, Trevor Lawrence, yeah. And I want to see it because there's going to be some upsets because not all of them can make the playoffs, right? So I think that's what I just want to see, because in previous years, the NFC has always been better. It's always been the stacked division, the glamorous division, got the quarterbacks, got the defensive end guys as well. But I think this year, last season was all about the AFC, and I still think that's going to be the same. And now that you've got the Jets that are, in a sense, on a come up, like they've got Sauce Gardner, who in his rookie year was ranked the best cornerback in the league, and then you had the offensive rookie.
But he was all pro though, so
yeah. And then you had Garrett Wilson, and then now you've added Aaron Rodgers, and they've got their defense. I think they're gonna ball, but I'm just looking. If you ask me what I'm looking out for, is Rodgers with the Jets and just the AFC in terms of how everyone competes.
No, I totally agree, bro. The AFC is stacked. Like, it's ridiculously stacked. And you know what? Let's talk about the Jets, because I know that's the team on everyone's mind. Obviously, with Aaron Rodgers, they nearly made the playoffs. They had that run, and then they lost, and then they messed it up. But then you're looking at this Jets team now, and you're thinking, okay, you've added Aaron Rodgers, Robert Saleh, the head coach, Nathaniel Hackett's come back as an offensive coordinator, not a head coach. Thank God for the Jets. But I'm looking at this team, and I'm looking at Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is on a decline. Not because I'm not saying he's ass, but he's still Aaron Rodgers, so he's still going to be a good quarterback. But last season, he didn't have his greatest season. He had way more interceptions than he's had in any of his years. But the Jets are a young team, and the Jets are on the come up, and that's what we saw from last season. But one thing I looked at, and I was speaking to a Jets fan yesterday who I work with, and he was saying our season can go horribly wrong really quickly because our schedule is ridiculous. And I was like, what do you mean? He was like, look at our first games. I'm gonna tell you their first games, right? So, first game is Monday Night Football, the Bills. Probably B&L. No one would be surprised if they lose to the Bills. It's the Bills. They're the best team in their division. All right, next, they're at Jerry World against the Cowboys. I know Aaron Rodgers has good times in the Cowboys. I remember that NFC divisional game where he made that pass at Jerry World. But again, that's that Aaron Rodgers of old, and that's the Green Bay Packers. They could lose that one. Then they got the Patriots. Okay, cool. You can beat the Patriots. Yeah, I believe in you, the Jets. Then what next? Okay, they've got the Chiefs. Okay, that's an L. Then they've got the Broncos. I can't lie. I think we're better. No, I'm going to be real. It's at Mile High as well. They could lose that easily. Cool. I feel like they will lose that. And then they've got the Eagles. So right now I'm thinking, bro, that's 1-5. Like, that's like they could go to a 1. Like, don't be surprised if they could go to a 1-5 start. Then they've got the Giants. Okay, Battle of New York game, that'll be good. I think they can win that one. But again, you never know with those games. Then they got the Chargers. Oh, damn, like, Chargers are a decent team. Who knows about the Chargers? Raiders, okay, they can beat the Raiders. Then they got the Bills again. Then they got the Dolphins, Falcons. Like, bro, they could have a really bad record if they're not careful.
No, like, I hear that, bro. But I think even in their division, I wouldn't say they're the best, but I think the Bills are going to have some issues because, like I said in the group chat, Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen, they're not on the same page right about now. He was complaining about getting balls, and if you got a quarterback, yeah, pause. Sorry, pause.
Hey, yo.
Catching passes. There we go. Catching passes, yeah, or throwing enough passes to his number one receiver, yeah. And if we get into a situation where Josh Allen is starting to force it to Stephon Diggs to appease Stephon Diggs, we know the equilibrium of that team is going to go left because now it's you're doing something that you don't want to do, but you're trying to appease Stefan. And I just think the Bills, like I said last year when we used to talk in a group chat and stuff, I said the Bills are on their clock. This Super Bowl clock that they're on, they've probably got at least one more year because you're going to have to pay someone on the defense. You're going to have to pay Josh Allen again. Stephon Diggs is going to go. Once you've used all that cap space, what receivers are you going to get? And I just think with the Jets, for example, we've seen it with two great quarterbacks that have gone to new teams. Yes, Tom Brady, he went to the Buccaneers and it worked straight away. But we saw Peyton go to your team and it was a maturation of a little run. But my point is, sometimes when you got a young team, you just need an adult in the room just to safeguard you over the line. We don't need Aaron Rodgers to be throwing crazy numbers. All we need him is to be careful with the ball, put Garrett Wilson in the right position. They've really got a good defense. They've got a defensive head coach. All we need you to do is get us over the finish line. We're not saying be Aaron Rodgers where you're throwing for 500 yards, 400 yards. You can throw for 250, but just throw for 30 out of 35. That's what we need you to do. Like, just safeguard the teams. I think we're going to see how good the Jets are. Like you said, they've got a stacked schedule. We're going to see how good they are. But we're also going to see how good these other teams are. Because we know with NFL, it's all about parity. You could be great one season, the next season, you've lost a few pieces. Everyone starts off on a bad start, and you could be 0-4, 0-5 in no time. So I think, yes, they've got a tough run, but there's some teams there that I can say it's 50-50. The Cowboys, I don't think they're going to be that great. It's Dak. There's no more Zeke. Let's see what we're going to do. There's other teams in there. So I still think the Jets they're going to call some upsets on that first 10-week games that they play. So let's see.
No, I totally agree. Because that's going to go to my next point, is that when you have a good team, you don't need your quarterback to be great. You just need your quarterback to protect the ball and maybe get 250. We need them to be competent. And that's going to go to my next point. I feel like what I'm looking forward to, I know I said it last season, but Broncos country, I've got one more in me. I've got word to VC in Atlanta. I've got one more in me, bro. And I've been seeing it. Like, loads of people don't realize about this Broncos season and why I'm gassed for it. Because I see a lot of people saying, we could go 4-13. There's some people that see it, but those are only people that watch the Broncos and then kind of know what's going on. So for those that don't know, we've always had a good defense. Always had a top 5 defense. We've had the best red zone defense for the past how many years? And last season, we were all saying, okay, the Broncos need just a quarterback. And we just get that quarterback, we get a head coach. That'll be a good team. They could be a playoff team. Even the NFL got gassed with that because we got.
I said that as well.
Bro, we all did, because we know that the Broncos are a good team. They were just missing that vital piece. So we brought in Russell Wilson. NFL were like, damn, like they've got their quarterback now. Russell Wilson, this is a Super Bowl winning QB. Like, let's get him. Let's get them 7 primetime games. And I'm sorry for everyone that has watched those primetime games. We were horrible. But the reason we were horrible, we were smelly. And the reason we were smelly is because of Nathaniel Hackett, who is now an offensive coordinator at the Jets. So when we got Nathaniel Hackett, we thought we were getting Aaron Rodgers at the time. We thought, okay, they're going to come together. Aaron Rodgers is going to come. Yeah, that was the plan. And long story short, we knew from week 1 at the Seahawks last season that this man cannot call plays. And I'm sorry, you cannot be a head coach in the National Football League and not call plays. That's just ridiculous. Yeah. So, but we learned that from week 1. It didn't take us. It took us until maybe week 14. I think he got fired. But put it that way, we finally fired him. And then we had a terrible season. We had the worst offense, I think, in the NFL. I think there was a time I had the worst offense in NFL history. And I think we averaged 15 points a game. And so it was terrible. It went completely wrong. But one thing I saw is that once Nathaniel Hackett went, we got in an interim head coach, and we went 2-1. We just about lost to the Chiefs, beat the Chargers, and I forgot who we beat the last game. But we went 2-1, right? So I thought, okay, cool. This team's not bad. Russ isn't that bad. Like, all we need is a head coach. So what do we go and do in the offseason? We bring in your guy, Sean Payton, a guy who's won a Super Bowl, a good offensive mind, a guy I think I was reading some stats, like every time he's with you guys in the Saints, he was always top 8 in offense. So we've now got a experienced coach with a quarterback. And I'm looking at this, we still have a very good defense. Obviously, we still have, I think, the best corner in the league in Pat Surtain. And I'm looking at this, I'm thinking, okay, Russ, we don't need you to be great. We just need you to be competent. And I think he's I think he's capable of doing that. Fair enough, we're not going to win our division because we have the Chiefs in our division. The Chargers are the Chargers. As good as people think they are a bozo franchise. And if you actually look at them, their schedule is actually pretty hard. And the Raiders, who knows are the Raiders and Jimmy G? So I'm looking at this now, I'm thinking, okay, AFC is stacked, but we've got a good enough defense. We've now got a good head coach. And now we've got Russ, Russ is the only question mark. And if Russell Wilson is the only question mark in your team, I don't think that's a bad thing to go in because, bro, 3 years ago now, he was top 2 in the NFL 100.
I know, exactly.
Bro, like, I don't think he's just completely gone. And the only season, gone.
No, I'm saying you're right. It was only him and Lamar. Lamar he was 2.
Exactly. And the only thing that we've now just completely written him off was a season in which he had a head coach who didn't know how to call plays. And for anyone that watches the NFL and for anyone that knows or watches or has even watched the quarterback documentary, you know how a head coach and a quarterback need to be hand in hand because they're the people. Bro, they need to be a tandem. They're the persons communicating to them. So if someone can't call plays, of course we were going to suck. So now we got Sean Payton, and I'm thinking, okay, yeah, we won't win our division, but we can make the playoffs. And hey, last time we made the playoffs, I ain't gonna say it, but we won. I'm just saying. Now, listen, I'm not saying we're gonna win the Super Bowl, but I feel like the Broncos are gonna be a team that surprise people because if our only question mark is Russell Wilson going into this new season, it's not that bad. And I'm looking at it, okay, cool. The Raiders, yeah, we can beat the Raiders. We might have a bit of a tough schedule. It's not that tough though. And I think we can finally beat the Chiefs. Like I've got us because for those that don't know, I think the Chiefs are 14-0. Well, ever since Patrick Mahomes came into the league, we haven't and we've never beaten Patrick Mahomes. Even though we could we'll get one. Like I'll take one win over the Chiefs. It doesn't have to be at Burrowhead. It could be at Mile High. Like I'm here for it. Like we just need to beat them once. So that's my team. That's my team. That's going to surprise. I was going to ask about you, man, and the Saints as well because I feel like you, man, might win your division.
Before we go into the Saints, I want to just kind of say 2 things about your Broncos. And I've always had a soft spot for them. And I think, obviously, when Russ went there, at that time, Russ was my favorite player in the game. Was the best for me. I saw him as the best quarterback. But one thing I also think that's going to help him is that he's going to a coach in Sean Payton that is a great offensive mind that's also going to understand him. Do you know why? Because he managed an all-time great that had a similar prototype to him in Drew Brees. So, like, it was. We know Drew Brees, as he got older, didn't have the arm. Russ has got that arm. But what we're going to see with Russ and Coach Payton is that we're probably going to see Russ in the pocket more often, but also it's going to be those not trying to get the 40-yard bomb, take this 5-yard here, take this 10-yard here, then you go for the play action. Whereas with Russ before, with Nathaniel Hackett, he couldn't really call plays. It was always looking for that big play and never just eating up the yards that the defense gives to you. And I think Sean Payton's going to put Russ in a position where we're going to see Russ of when he was at the Seahawks, similar to under Pete Carroll, who isn't a great offensive mind, but they said, take these little yards they're giving you, and then when we have the opportunity, do the play action fake, then we can get that big bomb that you was getting to Tyler Lockett. And you can do it with the Broncos. So I think the Broncos will make the playoffs. As you said, I don't think they're going to win the division because the division's very tough. But I've always liked the Chargers as well. Look, that AFC West, for some reason, I like that division because I like the Chiefs, I like the Chargers, and I like the Broncos. But I don't know if we're going to get all 3 of them going through.
This is the thing. You never know with that division, bro, because all those teams right now could make the playoffs. And then if you get AFC West, like someone big is going to miss because you still got in the AFC East, the Jets can make the playoffs, the Bills can make the playoffs, the Dolphins can make the playoffs. Like AFC is stacked, and then you think of the North, Steelers, the Bengals, the Ravens. Like someone's gonna have to go.
Bro, you said that, and you forgot the Browns,
the Browns, and even the South. Okay, the only team in the AFC South is going to be the Jags, but they're only going to be in the playoffs because they won the division because that division's ass. Yeah. But other than that, like someone big is going to have to miss the playoffs.
It's mad.
It's going to come down to who has the better team.
When we were talking about QBs, I forgot my guy, Deshaun. Obviously, he had a rough start to the season, but later on he performed well, and now he's going to have a whole season under his belt, and then go into a new season with they've got Stefanski as their coach that loves to run, and then you can use the play action fake, and Deshaun's got the arm, he's got the leg, so I still love Deshaun in terms of what he can do. There's so much talent in the AFC, so that should be great. In terms of the Saints, I'm always optimistic. That's my team, and I think we've made some great signings. We brought in Williams, the running back from the Lions. Obviously, we got AK-41, Alvin Kamara. We got Mike Thomas. We got Chris Olave. We're always stacked on offense. We got our defense. You know what I'm saying? Marshawn Lattimore, Cam Jordan. What's it called? What's his name? Something Mario. I forgot his name. The linebacker. So we're there, and I wouldn't say we got the QB that we got, but I think we've got a competent QB that can help us get over the line. As we all know, the NFC South isn't that great. You got the Buccaneers starting Baker Mayfield all the way from Tom Brady. Now you go to Baker Mayfield. The Falcons, I don't know who their quarterback's going to be. And then in Carolina, you got a rookie in Bryce Young. So we should win it in terms of our skill set and our team. The only one issue I'm always worried about is Dennis Allen. He's not a great offensive mind, very defensive. He was our defensive coach. And I think this season, because last year he was trying to run the offensive plays, forget that. Stick to running the defense. Get Carmichael to run the offense, and we can put up numbers. Do you know what I mean? So I think we're going to win it by default because the division ain't great. But as you know, once you get into the playoffs, anyone can win. So that's what we need to do. Get into the playoffs, and everyone's got a fighter's chance.
I saw something on, I want to say it was Sports Center. I don't remember where I saw it, but I saw it on Instagram the other day, and it was like, don't be surprised if. And one of the don't be surprised if is don't be surprised if the Saints had the number 1 seed in the NFC. Now, I know that sounds a bit crazy, but then I saw it and I looked at your schedule, and we all know Derek Carr. Like, I saw Derek Carr in my division for so long, so I know what I'm getting with Derek Carr. Yeah, he's a above average quarterback, right? So I'm looking at your schedule right now, and I'm looking at all the quarterbacks he's going to go up against. Your first week is the Titans. Tannehill's still the quarterback, right?
I believe so.
Right? Yeah, Ryan Tannehill. Okay, week 1. Week 2, Bryce Young, rookie. Week 3, Jordan Love in the Packers. Week 4, Baker Mayfield, better QB. Week 5, not Daniel Jones. Who's the Patriots? Mac.
Oh, Mac Jones.
Mac Jones. Yeah, there you go. Texans.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Jags.
CJ Stroud.
Exactly. CJ Stroud. Texans. Okay, Trevor Lawrence has a good quarterback matchup. The Colts. Anthony Richardson.
Rookie
Bears.
again,
Justin Fields. Okay, fair enough. Vikings. Okay, decent. Falcons. Desmond Ridder. I think he's going to be starting. Like, I'm looking at this. The Lions. Okay, Jared Goff. Then the Panthers again. Then the Giants. Then the Rams. Then the Falcons. Then the Bucks. The best quarterback you'll go up against is either Kirk Cousins or Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like, I'm looking at your schedule. Your schedule's really like the Saints have always been a good team. You've always had good pieces. And now I think your wide receiver room is very good. Obviously, we mentioned the names earlier. You've now got a good average, an above average quarterback. Like, is it mad to say that you could win the NFC? Like, I'm not saying that you are going to, but
do you know
I won't be surprised.
I think it sounds good, but to be honest, like my pick for the NFC is the 49ers. I just love them. Like, offensively, wavy. Defensively, Joey Bosa, that's my guy. Like they're just stacked on defense. They got Fred Warner, they got everyone. Then on offense, they got Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, Kittle. Sorry, the only surprise is that they didn't. I don't think they gave Trey Lance enough time. I do like Brock Purdy, but again, it's going back to that situation what we just said with Aaron Rodgers. You don't always need a quarterback that's going to get you 400 yards. You just need a competent QB that can get you over the line. And we've seen.
But do you think that's Brock Purdy though? Like, I know he had that run, obviously, but this guy was drafted as Mr. Irrelevant, right? Like, I think going into the season, like the 49ers window is closing. I'm not saying it's
Yeah,
closing now, but it's closing, bro. And with that stacked team, because bear in mind, we beat the 49ers last season. People forget. So, like, the 49ers are a stacked team. Don't get it twisted. But if you couldn't get over the line with that stacked team with someone like Jimmy G, how are you going to get over the line with someone like Brock Purdy? Like, I'm not saying Brock Purdy's a bad quarterback, but you're going to need a bit more because Jimmy G's not a bad quarterback.
No, I hear that. I don't have faith in it because I just don't think Brock Purdy has that X factor. At least Trey Lance, he could use his legs and he could throw. But they said, forget this project. Whereas I think with Brock Purdy, they're saying, we're going to rely on the playmakers that we have on offense and defense, and he can just get us over the line by throwing for like 230 yards every game. I don't know. And it's just a shame because you see me, right about now, I'm like, I love college football as well, but right about now, I'm just intrigued by Caleb Williams in it. I wanted to go somewhere he can win. And no one, the 49ers is not going to tank for him, and they ain't got no picks to trade for him. But if they could find a QB that's got an X factor, it's crazy. Remember, they was in a draft where they was in a position. They didn't even have to. They could have stayed where they was, and they could have probably got Justin Fields. Justin Fields would have fitted nicely into that team because we see what he's doing with the Bears now as a dual threat. And I think if they had that, how could you stop them? Because you don't know if they're going to run the ball, and if they do want to throw, he's got great targets: Deebo Samuel, Kittle, and Brandon Ayuk. And then you got the dual threat of he can run, but he might pass it to Deebo Samuel that sets up as a running back. And we've always known with the 49ers, they're great by running back by committee. So it's a bit of a shame, but I still do have the 49ers as the favorites for the NFC, which, to be said, the NFC isn't great. If you take out the 49ers, I can't really tell you a standout team. People can say the Cowboys, Minnesota, but we know what
The fact that we're talking about the Cowboys and Minnesota, that says it all, bro.
Exactly.
It's not great. That's why I feel like you guys could do something.
Yeah. I think if we were to say that and you had to say, okay, Sam, where do you think they would finish in the AFC? I probably think they could finish they could finish second with maybe a 12-5 record or 13-4, just based on the schedule that you told me. I don't think it's that great. And even the teams that you said are great, like a Minnesota or a Jacksonville, I think we could upset them, to be honest.
So to wrap up, I'm going to ask you this. Is there one team, like, other than the ones we mentioned that we haven't mentioned earlier? Like, I'm going to mention Baltimore. I feel like, obviously, Lamar, we haven't seen a bit of Lamar last season, but now Lamar's got weapons. Baltimore still have a team defense. Is there one team that you're looking forward to? Because I'm thinking Zay Flowers, I'm thinking OBJ. I'm trying to see that OBJ remontada. Like, but like Baltimore are my team to look out for. Is there one team you're looking? I'm thinking, okay, like these men can cook if they have the right pieces and it goes well and they stay healthy.
I think I'm going to have to jump on that bandwagon.
You see it in it. You see it.
It is Baltimore. Like it's so funny because this is one thing I love about NFL. Like, I've got my team, but there's so many players that I like in the sport that allows me to have that grace of liking other teams. I was going to say the Bengals, but we know what the Bengals are. Joe Shiesty, Jamar Chase, what's the other receiver? T. Higgins, and then on defense they got Trey Hendrickson. Like, I just love what they're doing. But if you was to say, because my favorite player in the NFL, like, it's always OBJ. From when he was at the Giants, he did what he did. Then I always wanted to get a ring. Everyone was hating on him. He eventually got that ring. And if he didn't get injured, he probably could have been the MVP of that Super Bowl, which would have been insane. Internet would have blown up. And I just wanted to see him do good. So I'm going to definitely go with the Ravens, because I think if now Lamar has got the weapons and he's trying to say, look, I don't want to run no more. I want to be in the pocket and throw. If we can see Lamar throw consistently, and we know Baltimore's always got a great defense, I think they can cause lots of upsets, man. Nobody wants to meet them in a wild card or whatever. So you're right. I think I'll definitely go with Baltimore.
You're totally right, man, because like we've seen Lamar at his best. He's one of the best runners we've ever seen. And plus the brother can throw. I feel like he's so good at running. Like, people don't realize, like, he's a quarterback at the end of the day. He will prefer to throw than run. but he's so good at both and he's so elusive. But now we've given him weapons. Like at first you had Hollywood Brown, but that was that was his primary target back then. Obviously you had Mark Andrews as well. But now you've got OBJ, now you've got Zay Flowers. And one thing I've seen recently is like rookie wide receivers are just coming into the league and they're balling. And then now that like we saw it with Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Chris Olave, like these and Garrett Wilson, like these rookie wide receivers are just coming in and just balling out, bro. Like I'm not sure it's because they're just more athletic and they're just getting more and more athletic each year, but they're just balling out. And I'm thinking, yo, Baltimore, like, even though the AFC North is kind of stacked, like you can make an argument for all them teams. I'm thinking,
I know one of them's gonna miss out.
Exactly, and one of them's gonna have to miss out. And I'm thinking, all right, but Baltimore's gonna be the team that I'm gonna be watching. And I'm looking forward to. But having said that, man, it starts this Sunday. Well, it starts this Thursday actually with the Lions and the Chiefs.
Yes,
and I'm looking forward to it. And then I think Denver are playing the Sunday, but you know. Hashtag beat the Raiders and that. But listen, people, thank you for listening to another episode of the Zone LDN podcast. You can follow us on Twitter at the Zone LDN, on Instagram at the Zone _LDN. And we will start uploading clips on TikTok as well if you guys like TikTok, because I know people have TikTok. I need to start using TikTok. I think only my girl sends me TikToks. That's about it, bro. Like that's
the algorithm is mad.
The algorithm is mad, isn't it? So that's all I know. But yeah, Sam, you know what to do, man. The floor is yours.
I don't mean to plug it because we're all one. It's the Zone all the time. You see the name in the handle. If you want to go and follow it. But it's a family thing, so I don't even need to plug myself. The Zone to the world and back. Let's go.
The Zone to the world and back, people. Thank you for listening to